everyone. My name is Jeanette Ramos, and I'm the founder and CEO of It Takes a Village Housing. It Takes a Village Housing is a nonprofit organization geared towards helping mothers get the services that they need to raise their children. It's going to provide not only drug treatment services for our mothers, but mentors for our children, home economics for our mothers. This is going to be a one-stop shop that's going to provide for our families. Drugs and alcohol seem to be a big part of our society, and how we eradicate that will be based upon what we do for this population. We're always looking for donations. Help us out with those donations. Anything that you can give would be a great help. We're always looking for beds. We're looking for toiletries. We're looking for money. And anything that you can provide us would be of great help. So if you're willing to provide this population with a second chance at life, check out my website at ittakesavillage1.org, or you can email me at ittakesavillagemom@gmail.com. Here's to It Takes a Village Housing, and I look forward to meeting with each and every one of you.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Thank you so much if you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay to spend an hour of your time in order to pour into each other, into the universe, all of this great energy, because we have an amazing guest for today. Steve, he decided to, come with us and join us on the show at the grace of God. This is absolutely amazing just to have Steve here. A big shout out to my guy, Lauren, for hooking us up and getting us into connection with each other. Steve was actually on Lauren's show, Bathrobe Moments on the E360 television network. That episode happened this morning, so go check it out if you got some time. It was absolutely amazing. There was a lot of engagement, a lot of conversation that, a lot of people don't really like to talk to about nowadays or talk about nowadays, but we need to have these open discussions. And one of the things that I learned from watching it is that you can have a conversation with somebody and not agree with them, but everything can still be peaceful and everything can still work out and find a common ground and everything. So that's what I really learned from that. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, Lauren, for coming on today. Man, I have so much energy for you guys just because I know this show is going to be absolutely amazing. So if you agree with me, I know you already know this thing's about to be fire. So make sure that you like it, share it, you never know who you might be helping when you share it, when you like it, when you comment and pour it into the universe and pour into yourselves as well, because this is what it's all about, connecting with you guys. As I already say every week, there is nowhere else in this entire world. I don't care if it's Disneyland. I don't care if it's Fiji. I don't care if it's in Paris, wherever it may be. There's nowhere in the world that I'd rather be than with you guys for today. So if you're rocking with the content right now, if you're feeling this content, if you're feeling the energy, drop a hashtag Positivity Posse. So I know you guys are rocking with me for today, and that, I know that you're engaging. You're not just sitting there watching it. So let's get it. My guy, Christopher Rouse, kick-ass Dano in the house. Love your energy. Chris, you're the man. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are absolutely amazing. You guys actually typed this before I could even to say. So that's how you know all the energy is real and absolutely amazing. Steve, I see you smiling in the background back there. Steve is helping me get this amazing energy as well. So I can't take all the credit. It's all you guys as well. So before we bring Steve on, you already know what we got to do. We got to do 2 segments before we bring Steve on. Number 1 is the affirmations for happiness. I just always choose a random page, and I always know it helps somebody. It may be me, it may be somebody watching, maybe somebody watching on the replay. Whoever it is, I know that we open up to a random page, and it always helps somebody right in that moment. And then I'm going to play the On the Street segment interview for you guys. Huge shout out to my guy, Mike Gross, for making this possible, because, I did have a camera woman, as you guys already know, and she moved away, but she will be returning. But in the interim, we got to get my guy, Mike Gross. He actually stepped in to be the camera person for today, for this segment, actually. And he actually has his own photography, business as well. So go check him out, Mike Gross, on Instagram. And if you need to, just reach out to me and I can put you guys into connection. And just to let you know one quick story, when we were going to film yesterday, we parked the car in Philly and we're about to go walk to the park to go, shoot the segment. And not even 30 seconds after us going to, go record and we're walking, there's a guy on a bike stops us and he goes, "Yo, hey man, are you a photographer?" And Mike goes, "Yeah." So he goes, "Yeah, listen, I might need some work. Let me get your information. Let's network, whatever." So the guy just starts to talk about, alignment and all the things that we talk about here about positivity, the spiritual downloads, everything just about, just what's going on in his life. So I thought that was absolutely amazing that he, not even 30 seconds into us doing our journey and doing our segments and recording, he already got an opportunity. And I think that's just the right place at the right time. But, that's in accordance with alignment. So there we go. So let's start out with the affirmations for today. So like I said, I always pick a random page, and whoever it's supposed to help, I hope this is for you. So let me see. Let me pick out of these 2. All right, I like this one. Number 116. My stream of well-being is infinite. There is a never-ending source of well-being that's always flowing to me and through me. Whenever I am not well, it's simply because I stepped out of my stream. I'm getting back into my flow and allowing it to take me to my joy. So that's page 116. My stream of well-being is infinite. And if you guys notice, always is in alignment. That was just talking about the alignment, always being in that stream, being in that alignment, being in that vortex, whatever words you want to use. There is something that happens every day where we step into this vortex, or we step into this alignment that, it doesn't even have to be like you're getting sucked into something. Like, you can just have an absolutely great 10 seconds of your day. Nobody can ruin it. I know for me, it's my morning workouts where, I always go and I just love to work out. And I know that's for me. And there's other portions in the day, but we got a lot to cover. So we got to bring Steve on because he actually has an event coming up this weekend. It's in Seattle, Washington. And the name of the event is I have it written down here. I know. It's called Mind, Motivation, and Money. And he's going to be explaining what mind, motivation, and money is, and what the whole event is about and what he stands for. So let's play this interview real quick, because and Steve, when you come on, you better be paying attention back there, because I want you to answer this question too to help everybody as well. So without further ado, here is the segment for the week. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dano, television show host of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, and you already know what we're doing for today. We're going around the streets of Philly, asking everybody the questions that you need the answers to. Let's get it. What's your name is?
Mercedes.
For the people watching right now, can you give them 3 habits, tips, or anything that you might say to live a happy life?
Yeah, for me, I like to do yoga or stretch every morning. I also love coffee, so I make my own cold brew every night, and I drink coffee every day. And then the third thing is I talk to at least one person that makes me happy and does not stress me out every day.
I see, you got it right over here. Makes sense. What's your name, miss?
I'm Meg.
Meg, for the people watching, can you tell them 3 different things, lifestyles, habits, or anything in order to help them live a happier life?
Yeah, you should smoke weed, and you should get a cat, and you should sit on the couch and hold the cat, and it'll make you the happiest person in the world. But I do have to agree, talking to one person that makes you smile or makes you laugh definitely improves your life.
Evan, I'm Dano. It's nice to meet you. For the people watching right now, would you be able to give them like 3 pieces of advice or like habits that they can do in order to live a happier life?
I would probably just say, at least from my own personal experience, go with the flow, just enjoy yourself, don't stress over too much. I know life's a little crazy, grind, make your money, respect people, love people, network, have people around you. And I guess the last thing is just find whatever makes you happy, don't accommodate to people. That's all.
That's all. That was like 8 things, Evan.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I love all the information. Thank you so much. What's your name, miss?
My name is Audrey.
For the people that are watching right now, would you be able to give them 3 pieces of advice in order to live a happier life?
3 pieces of advice that I would have are just to always live your life with gratitude. You know, I've always been told by my mother that the more things in your life that you wake up grateful for every day, the more sources of gratitude you find. The more gratitude you express, the more gratitude you feel, and I think that's just always a sure way to feel happy in what you do. And I think to always have something in life that you're passionate about and are always pursuing, to have that passion, whether it's a hobby, whether it's what you do for your job, I think absolutely that's important as well. Always have something you're dreaming about. You know, I'm fully the one who's like, romanticize your life, you know, have those delusions, have these things that you dream and hope for and are always thinking about and working towards. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with a life led with a little bit of romanticization.
So there we go, everybody. There was also one more person in there. The video was a little bit choppy and like a little bit blurry. So her name was Maddie, and she said these 3 things. Number 1 was reading, number 2 was exercising, and number 3 was eating well. So I wanted to give her credit as well. Thank you guys for all the comments. I see that you guys love it. It's all great stuff, man. I do it for you guys. And one more thing. All right, last one, I promise. So she said smoke weed. Yes, she did say that. And I wanted to address this because, man, as long as you're keeping your integrity, as long as you're not hurting other people, as long as you're not bothering anybody, hey, if it makes you happy, then that's what makes you happy. To each their own. You know, if that's where you find your happiness, then good for you. Just don't be hurting anybody and always keep your integrity. So without further ado, it's time to bring my man Steve onto the Steve, man, stop working on your event for this weekend. It's time to get on the show. Steve, how's it going?
Hey, man, it's going amazing. And yourself?
Oh,
Just
man,
love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Life is amazing. Life is beautiful. Steve, man, you helped me out so much today because, you know, this was meant for you to be here. You're going to help me out. You're going to help the viewers out for today. And, you know, you're going to help yourself out, too, by telling everybody what your event is all about. So, Steve, the reason, well, I'm going to start out with this. So, the name of your event is called Mind, Motivation, and Money. So, why did you want to name it Mind, Motivation, and Money?
You know, that's a great question. You know, as you were pulling out your affirmation book, I was going to show this. So, you know, Lauren showed his. So I just did the same thing. I just grabbed it and I randomly opened it because one of the things I was talking about earlier is about being a servant leader, you know, and I was giving some examples of me being in the industry and always leading by example, right? I've never been one that, you know, tell people, you know, do this or you did that wrong. No, I explain another way to do it. And here's why you want to do it this way. And by the time they walk away. They're like, wow, And so I opened the book in Declaration 8 right here, and it just talks about we shall inspire greatness, right? It talks about, well, the quote in here is, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you will be really happy are those who will have sought and found how to serve. So, it's just kind of ironic. That was my thought process coming into this. I randomly opened a book like you did. I know Lauren did earlier. And there it is, exactly what we wanted to talk about. So, which would lead into, the mind, motivation, money part of it. We at My DH Life, which is our company, which stands for Living a Dominion Lifestyle, is about creating opportunities for people around the world, especially in this time. People are hurting. There's needs out there. So how could we build like ecosystems to help bless people around the world, right? And this is our very first event. I'm very excited about it. As time is drawing near, it's just this weekend. Folks can get information at mydhlive.events, but it's got to all start here first, right? Even if you make $1 million, $5 million, $50 million, because I've seen folks, win the lottery and literally within months they're broke again. What happened? And you remember MC Hammer, he shared his testimony, made $30 million and lost it all. What happened? Poor management. Why? But if he was strengthening the mind on how to properly manage or allocate or different strategies, but it all starts with the mind. This is the area that a lot of times really trips us up and messes us up is, should we or shouldn't we? Do we have a plan in place? Do we have a strategy in place? You see? And if we don't, then guess what? We will get tripped up in many ways. And so the motivation part, obviously, if your mind is intact, you've got everything in line, it'll motivate you, right? It's kind of like you creating your segments or me creating your segments. You've already planned it out. You know what it's going to look like. You already know the feeling and the excitement and the people you're going to touch. And that just adds that motivation piece of it, right? So it's all about proper planning from the mind, being proactive. Then it all leads right into, of course, the money making aspect or the finance aspect of it. So that's why mind, motivation, money.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. There's two things that I want to touch on. Number one, Lauren actually beat me to it, but I was going to say it anyway. So was it truly random? No, it's not really truly random. In my opinion, there was actually two questions that I was going to ask. Do you believe in luck, or the one about the three giving three tips? And, as far as random, I don't ever really believe that anything is random. I think all the great things in your life are supposed to happen to you, as well as the negative things that are supposed to happen to you in your life, because it's all about that balance, right? How
Exactly.
can you really understand what positive is if you don't have any negatives in your life, and vice versa? So that was the first thing I wanted to touch on. And number two is 1000%, you hit the nail right on the head. Everything that we experience, I mean, even me, you right now, and the viewers watching, everything that happens in your life is due to what goes on in your mind. And I want to give you one quick example besides us talking to us. So let's say you got picture a glass of water that's filled on the counter, right? Do you really see the glass of water for what it is, or are you looking at accumulation of everything, all the steps that it took to get there? So you had to open up the fridge, you had to take out the glass from the cabinet, you had to fill up the water, then you had to put it back, and then you had to drink it just to get replenished. So I think a lot of people think that, everything that happens on the surface level isn't really because, it just happens that way. It's exactly like you said. It all starts from the mind. And if we operate from that place of love, and, I always say this all the time, but we receive love in return. So I think
That's right.
one of the things that, that we were talking about on the phone earlier is about true happiness. And you want to help people succeed that true happiness. What is true happiness to you?
Yeah, true happiness to me it means a lot of different things, and it comes right back to what I was talking about, servant leadership and how could I be of service to people, right? It brings me a level of joy. It brings me a level of contentment as a human being. One thing you mentioned just before this, we're talking about luck, and and you're right. I don't believe in luck because I believe as divine plans, right? Things are laid out and there's a divine connection. And if we wait on those divine connection, it's amazing what happens, because we can try to, make things happen on our own accord, right? A lot of times we mess it up. Trust me. If we don't let God be God and take over and connect the dots for us, and be patient. See, patience is the key in all of that. We get so impatient that, man, we want to get this thing going. But if we could just relax, chill, release it all, surrender it all, and just let everything fall in place like we are today. Hey, listen, this was a divine connection, right? It wasn't planned. It just happened. Here we are. Someone watching, need to hear. There might be a divine connection there. Who knows? But yeah, it's about a divine connection. Just let things fall in place as they may be. Now, happiness, to me, like I said, it's really, what could I do for others? We've created this whole ecosystem that we built. And what is the purpose? The purpose was twofold. Is how could we provide an opportunity for people around the world with what's going on with this global economic crisis, right? So we wanted to create a vehicle and an opportunity and a platform, but at the same time, while being part of that vehicle, then at the same time giving back now to our foundation, One Vision, One Heart, to where now we are touching communities, right? We're transforming lives in different communities around the world. But that's that perpetual given, right? We're blessed to be a blessing, and this is where true happiness is for me personally, is to be a blessing unto others.
100%. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get messed up. And I know, especially with people my age, I'm 25 years old, just to throw that out there. A lot of people just think that, they'll find their happiness within material beings, like, cars, houses, everything of that nature. But I think you hit the nail right on the head. And, if you don't know that already by now, by being on the show and all my supporters of Positivity Posse, you are going to find your happiness within, serving other people. And I think a lot of people really don't really understand that point just yet. But, now that you heard it, you can't unhear it. So every time you try to go buy a piece of clothing at the designer stores, you always remember this moment on the Weekly Dose of Dano show. And you'll say, man, he was right. It only buys you happiness for as many times as you wear it. But then what happens after that? It's more of a message behind that. And Steve, you were talking about the concept of surrendering. And I feel like when we've all done that before, I think the most common ground that we can find is our first relationship that we've ever had, our first true love. And, we surrendered ourselves totally to that person. And if things don't go right, we start to get hurt and we start to get scarred, and we don't take that leap of faith and surrender. What advice would you give to somebody? Maybe it's going to be at the event. Let's say you run into somebody and they say, Steve, I don't know how to surrender totally into that higher being. What advice would you give for them?
Yeah, first is to understand when you don't surrender, the damage it's really causing within, right? Because when you harness that stress and that worry and everything that could psychologically and physically damage you, and you understand that, you realize, wow, this is not worth it. There's something greater than me that could handle this for me. Why am I holding on to it and trying to deal with it and stressing myself out and stressing everybody around me out? Because then it changes your attitude, and you're talking about positivity. Oh, it's the opposite of positivity. And now you're negative, and people can feel that vibes. They can feel that energy, and people don't want to be around people that's, got negative energy. So when you release it, in other words, okay, God, I'm surrendering it to you. It's all yours now. I'm just, whatever may be, will be, I'm just going to accept it. And as long as you could get to a position to say what maybe will be, it was meant to be, you're good. Because that's the whole point, is you got to totally just surrender. And trust me, the peace you get within your heart, the peace within your soul, the peace within your spirit is just amazing. It really is. And once you start literally just verbally just releasing it, I release it to you, God. I just release it. You start feeling that negative energy release from you, and there's just a calmness that just overtakes you, and a peace that just literally surrounds you, and you're grounded and you're good. You're golden.
Straight up. Trust me, I believe all the points, and I felt all of the points in different moments of my life where, I felt like this is actually a recent thing. I closed a chapter of my life after 7 years. And when I made that decision, I felt all of these, kind of like negative energies coming around me, and I started to get into my own head, kind of like, oh, what am I doing? Am I making the right choice? Like, this is my comfort zone. Why would I be giving it up for something greater? And it's like you said, I listened to some frequencies music, overnight, that helped me release all these negative things. And I surrounded myself with positive podcasts. And I just meditate, and I do all these things to release it. So you guys need to listen to Steve. He is 1000% right about surrendering and believing in yourself and your intuition, and that there is a plan for you. Now, Steve, we're going to take it back a few years, because, you were talking about earlier on, Lauren's show, about a great thing that happened to you back in 2001, and you were talking about it on the phone too. For everybody that may be watching, I don't think they know this story. Well, obviously they don't know the story. So can you talk about what happened to you in 2001 and how you had this awakening?
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks for the opportunity to share that, because I think this key point is very important. For me, I'm from Trinidad in the Caribbean, and I grew up in St. Croix, and then before relocated. But when I was, around 14, 15, I often knew there was something different about me. You ever have that sense, man, you're different. There's something just different about you. You just don't know what, right?
Yeah.
And so through my journey, and just really trying to find me, who am I, and so I, in this journey and doing different things. Well, fast forward to 2001, I had an experience. I started getting these chest pains. Okay, now, but back in 2000, 2001, if you know me then, I was, I ate right, I exercised. I was just a health conscious individual, right?
Mhm.
So I started getting these pains, and they started getting more excruciating. And I couldn't move, and the doctor, my primary care physician, did all these tests. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It went on for about 3 months. Into my third month, he said, "Well, Steve, it couldn't be your heart. I know you, right? You eat well, you exercise." And so he ruled it out, my primary care physician. And then my family said, no, let a cardiologist rule that out, not your primary care. I said, okay. I said, "Doc, send me to a cardiologist." I went to one of the best here in Seattle, and I passed every test, eco treadmill. I passed them all. And the cardiologist said, "Steve, well, it's not your heart. Definitely not." So my primary care was going to do another test 2 weeks later. Well, it was a week after that. They said I was like a fish out of water, just flopping around the bed. I remember the medics being there, drilling. Is he taking drugs? Does he take drugs? Let us know. We can't help him if we don't know. And no, he doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do anything, right? And then I remember being in the ER room. I remember the curtain going back, and then that's all I remembered. The next thing, I didn't go to hell. I didn't go to heaven. I didn't go to hell. Didn't see lights. I just heard a voice as loud and as clear as you and I speaking, Dano, said, "It wasn't your time yet." Okay, that's what I heard. And immediately my spirit came back in my body. And they had just given the news I was a goner. Now, so my spirit comes back in my body. I'm looking around. All these wires are hooked up behind me. My wife was boohoo crying. And I'm like, what's going on here? Take these wires off of me. I want to go home, because I came back strong, man. I was like, what's going on? Well, the cardiologist had a hunch at that exact same time, rushed down, cut the groin area, shoot the diet. Sure enough, my aorta artery was 98% clogged. 98%. They clean it out, put a stent. So, the cardiologist says, "Steve, you're a lucky young man." I said, "No, doc, I'm a blessed young man," because you don't know what I just experienced, right?
Let them
And
know.
now, from a medical perspective, Steve, I don't know how you survive this. Anyone that survives that comes out of vegetables. You had no blood, no oxygen, none flowing, So that's when I knew that I knew without a shadow of a doubt, we are here with a divine plan and a divine purpose. And when we seek what is our purpose in life, we find it. And that's where it all comes right back to about being a servant leader. And what can I do to be a blessing unto others?
Yeah, and that story is amazing. One of the things, I'm going to repeat this again, that you mentioned in your story is that you said the doctor had a hunch. And I'm going to put air quotes around doctor had a hunch, because as we all know, within our intuition, that's when we will find the answers. And he was seeking, you can connect those 2 points. He was seeking to try to save your life, and he found what he needed to do. And I think we can all take that, little story in that. Well, not little story. I don't want to diminish it, but we could take that point of, seeking, and we will find anything that it is that we want in our life. If we want, absolute abundance, we can find that. If we want to find who our soulmate's going to be, we can find that as well. But we just have to take the opportunity to trust in ourselves and trust in that plan that you always talk about. So, Steve, I want to fast forward now, 20 years, 21 years later to, you're going to have an event this weekend. So for the people that aren't going to this event, one, can you tell them what the event is going to be about? And can you give us a glimpse into one of the speeches that you're going to be talking about during this event? Because, I wish I can go, but that's all the way in Seattle. So
Yeah.
can you give us a glimpse of what's going to be going on?
Absolutely. So let me, to share that event, let me share one more testimony. So I'm a chef by trade. That's my life. And, I have a passion for food. But anyways, right after all that, when I realized there's more to life, and, every day matters, I formulated a spice rub. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason how that came out was this. I was in the grocery store. We have a famous chef here, Tom Douglas. Some of you might know of him. And he had created Love with Rub is what it is called. So I went into the grocery store and I'm looking at all these different rubs, for pork and for lamb and for chicken and for beef and for fish. I'm like, man, I got to have 8 rubs in my pantry and whatever protein I cook. So I said to myself, man, how come no one created a flavored profile spice rubs? Why, So then I heard this voice as loud as clear, daylight, man, said, why don't you create it? So I looked behind me. I'm like, who said that? Literally, it was that loud. I'm like, okay. So I started reading ingredients now. Wow, salt. I said, man, this thing's got a lot of salt in it. How come that's the first ingredient, right? And so I heard the voice again. Why don't you create it? That voice came from within, and I knew exactly who that was. I said, wow, okay, you help me, I'll do it, right? 6 months in the test kitchen. When I had prototypes, I used to go into the stores. I used to visualize my product in stores, right? Just with a prototype. I would send out samples. I'll make phone calls. So one Friday evening, right, this gentleman's name is Oscar. He worked for a huge national chain. The spirit just said, call Oscar now. It was 4:45. I called Oscar. Hey, Oscar, did you try the rubs? No. He said, but I got a barbecue coming up this weekend. I got friends. I got family coming over. I'll put it in my briefcase. I say, Oscar, I'm going to stay on the phone until you put those things in your briefcase. So he laughed, right? Sorry, Steve, I got him. Monday morning, Oscar calls me. He said, Steve, how quickly can you get these in 150 stores? Rave reviews. They want to know where they can get it. I'm like, wow, Oscar. I was literally overnight working with the manufacturer to box. But in that, I said, Oscar, I don't have distribution. He said, Steve, got you covered. You call this company, tell them I say, give you the price this big chain has and get the products in their trucks and out to us. I'm like, really? Okay, bam, distribution taken care of. So I share that just to say, when we talk about the power of visualization, the mind, the power of proclamation, speaking it into existence, right? And then just literally manifesting that idea, that dream, that invention, whatever it may be, right? It's not really that difficult. So I
just have a quick question.
Sure.
2 questions for you, actually. Number one, when you heard that voice, you didn't end up running out of the grocery store and driving home as quickly as you can. What made you so comfortable with hearing that voice?
I smiled. You know why? Because I knew it was God speaking to me. I knew what that internal voice, who that was speaking to me. Mm-hmm. And so that gave me a lot of confidence because it wasn't me I just spoke it, right? How come no one is doing this? But yet the Spirit said you do it. And that's all I need. So I partnered with the Holy Spirit to make this happen.
And what were some of the doubts? Did you have any, while you were going through the whole process, damn, I don't have this, I don't have that? Or did you just completely just run with it?
No, so I ran with it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I shared this because let me tell you, everyone, even yourself, just believing in yourself, right? And the God within you is enough. Okay. I didn't know where the containers were coming from. I have no idea who was going to do the labels, who's going to design the labels. I didn't know any of that, but I knew I needed that done. But I just took action. I went, faith without actions are dead. I just took action, man. And once I took the action and I went in motion, the answers came. I was talking to this one with the guy with a can. And I said, man, I got to get labels. Oh, call this person. He'll help you. Hey, I call him so-and-so, say, call, you can help me with labels. Oh, yeah, we could do labels. And then I said, well, I need to get design for the labels. Oh, yeah, you can talk to this person. Tell them I told you to call designer, right? It's all these divine connections from an idea or just a thought to an actual product on the shelf. So it's just taking action, believing in yourself, believing in the God within you, and believing you can do it. That's the key. And don't give up. Even if you fall and you fail, man, we can go back to all the stories and testimonies, Colonel Sanders, to Robert Kiyosaki, to all of them. Listen to Tony Robbins. They all have the very similar story or testimony, right? But they just believed in themselves, they believed in God in them, and it happened for them.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. So everybody out there, if you're getting these downloads, don't ignore them. Just make sure that you're following within your own path, and don't think about the things that'll go wrong, and don't think about the things that that like I just said, can go wrong. But instead, flip it. What can go right? Why am I getting these downloads? Why are these voices coming to me? Who am I even speaking with? You should try to explore just those to see what the different answers that you might get. And I think you'll be very surprised in what you will find inside of those answers. So we just have to take a quick commercial break, Steve, if you don't mind, just to get a word in from our sponsor. So don't go anywhere. I hope you guys are really enjoying this. Man, I know you guys are enjoying this fire content. Well, my guy Steve, for his event, mind, motivation, and money. I just write so sloppy. That's what it is. And if you guys don't already know, you can go look at it right here, my DH Life events. And can they purchase their tickets on this site right here as well?
Well, actually, guess what? It's a free event, so they can go register for free.
There you go. Go to this event, register for free. Go support my guy, Steve, because he's supporting you guys as well, being so transparent and giving everything that he has for you guys. So, Steve, thank you so much for being transparent. Don't go anywhere. We're just going to play a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Except I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book.
So everybody, that was just a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you for the sponsors. And Steve, I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much for coming in today. So Steve, you have the event going on this weekend, and you have One Heart, One Mind, and you have all these different vehicles, but I think they're all linked because you said that you wanted to bring light into this world. Now, you know, Thomas Edison and Sir Humphrey Davy are credited with bringing light into this world and the light bulb and electricity. So what does that even mean that you want to bring light into this world? Would you be able to explain?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. Well, you know, when I mentioned about 2001 and having that experience, it's only fair to share, you know, back in the early 90s, I had a spiritual awakening, literally, you know, where, you know, remember I mentioned seeking and seeking and seeking, knowing that there was more to life for me and knowing that I was created to make a difference. You know, I didn't know how, but I knew within me, I just sensed it. But I had this spiritual awakening where literally it was awakening where, let's say, darkness came out of me, right? And light became present, okay, by me just surrendering my life. And so from that point on to where I'm at, you know, I realized that there is two worlds we live in, the world of darkness or the kingdom of darkness and the world of light or the kingdom of light. And you know, if you look at a dark room and it all it takes is one little speck of light to illuminate that room. It doesn't take much. Okay. And folks are looking for a beacon of hope, if you will, in this world of darkness right now. You and I, we are this light that, can spark hope, spark faith to them, and let them know, look, you can make it with our help. When I say our help, meaning what we have to offer to them, being that light, we can bring this hope to them. And in this spiritual awakening, I realized there was a huge difference between religion and spirituality, because truly because we are a spiritual being from the very beginning. One of our missions and our motto is personal prosperity at an individual level, spirit, soul, and body, because we are a spirit in a body with a soul. And so they're three separates. And if we could understand they are three separates, right? And the fact that we were first spirit, body was formed, spirit in the body, and now here we are given a soul. Now it's the reverse. We were born, we're given a body. Now we've got to find that spirit, right, to go back in the body and put us back on track to our destiny and align us what God has for us. And once we can get that alignment and make sure the spirit man is leading and not the body or the flesh or the soul, will be right in alignment with what he's created us to be in life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people don't understand that distinction about, religion and spirituality being two different realms. I mean, with religion, you have to go to church, and then you have to follow the Bible, and then you have so many rules that you got to do. But with the spirituality, I feel like there's a relationship that you have, whether it's with God and with the angels or with any other being that you really believe in. That's just what we happen to believe. So if you believe in something else, hey, more power to you. Like I said, as long as you're not assaulting anybody, hurting anybody, like we said earlier in the show, then do you and be who you are, and whatever you believe in, man, who's to say that I'm right and you're wrong, and vice versa. So, I think a lot of people should really kind of look into that, and not really what, we've been kind of brainwashed and programmed to think, whether it's whatever religion you believe in. So I really appreciate you making that distinction between the two. And I'm actually going to go into that about the whole religion piece, because with religion, there's the Bibles, many different versions, but you have a favorite phrase or favorite passage or favorite scripture, which is Hebrews 11:1. Would you be able to share with everybody what the scripture is and why it's so important to you?
Yeah, I look at Hebrews 11:1 is the book of, it lists as, I call it the hall of faith, right? It's all the faithful patriarchs that have walked where, either God told them to do something, they got a spiritual download, they didn't know how, but they just believed and went on that journey, right? And so Hebrews 11:1 just says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of those things not yet seen. So you don't see it yet, right? But you believe it'll happen. But the hope comes because you see others achieving it, and you're like, wait a minute, they achieved that. That sparks so much hope that if they can do it, I know I can do it. So that faith just bubbles up, right? And then now you're on this journey to literally manifest, because now it's the faith in God. Your faith in God is faith in yourself and the God within you that's going to manifest this that you're hoping for, you see. And that's why I share the spice. That same applied. And now we've heard the same Hebrews 11:1 paraphrase, right? What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind will achieve, right? R. Kelly said it best. He says, of course, I don't know if we want to talk about him right now, but right? I believe I can fly if I can just see it. If I just can't believe it, I can achieve it. So it's all the same thing, the same context and same meaning of what we're hoping for, we want to manifest.
And I think a big part of that manifestation too is like you have to have that faith within yourself. And then
Yes.
I think writing is also a big part of it too, which I've been recently learning. I've been trying to write, so many different things, whether it's for prosperity, for happiness, or for manifestation, whatever it may be. That's a big, big piece for everybody watching right now. Make sure that you're writing down whatever it is. It might be for 5 minutes. It might be 2 sentences. As long as you write it down, you're releasing that thought and you're sending it out into the universe, and you're making space for those things that you're asking for to come into your life as well. So add that into your repertoire as well.
I'm sorry, as you're just saying that you're absolutely key, because when I get these spiritual downloads, I journal all of them. I highlight it, I journal them as I get them. And then sometimes certain ones, depends, I'll go in the back of the book and I'll start journaling from the back to the front. So I have 2 different journals and when I do it, because these are like some serious spiritual downloads, nuggets that just comes in. I just write it. I write it. Just like you're saying, it's very important because when you get them, you're going to fool yourself and say, I'll remember that. Guarantee you. A month, a week, you're like, oh my God, what was that? It was so good. What was it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You don't remember it.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't even remember what I had yesterday morning. So, you know what I mean? So always be sure to write that down, whether it's a note on your phone. We always carry our phones with us. So there's really no excuse. So now that you're conscious of it, please start to do it because it will make a world of a difference. So let's talk about this manifestation portion of your event this weekend. So with your event, you have all of these selected speakers and, you know, you brought this into the existence. Can you talk about the different speakers that are going to be there and why you decided to, you know, entrust these people and to help spread your message?
Yeah. So, you know, at mydhlive.com, which is our company, each one, of the products, the vendors or the providers were hand selected and handpicked. And it was because of my personal experience. Why? You know, mindset training, Scott Bland, who's a transformational coach, he'll be here. He provides that training. We have financial training from Ricky Johnson. He's out of California. And he specializes is truly empowering people and giving them the knowledge. For example, you know, how to own nothing but control everything. Utilize and trust. There's just some strategies that sometimes we don't know about. Dr. Liddy, who's an attorney, she is our chief legal counsel for our company, but she is just so full of wisdom and she brings so much value as well as the other two. But you know, her training is legal training. Here's something you might not have thought about, and I've experienced this, and I'm explaining why I handpicked each one of these with a short testimony and why Dr. Liddy and why everything. And then we have crypto and blockchain. You know, that's one of my passions. I started studying it back in 2015. So I'm going to be speaking on that. Well, let's start with the mindset because, you know, I have been challenged. And when I say a challenge, you know, in being in business, there's a lot of responsibilities, you know. So there's times, man, where, you know, I get down in the valley too. I'm human, you know. I feel the weight of everything, the responsibilities and the decisions. And, you know, so there's days I just go lay down. You know, I'm like, man, I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm just going to go lay down, wake up. To me, it's like starting over, right? Let me just start over because, so the mind set is important. The finances now I have made millions and I've lost millions. Okay. And because I have a big heart, I give a lot, right? So managing your money is key and strategies. So a download that I had, which was, when I first in 2017, we're going to launch the app, is learning how to, through automation, and I came up with this formula to help people manage their money. So in other words, live off 50% of your income, take 10% to give, because there's power in giving, okay? Tremendous power in giving. 10%, you want to start paying off debt. 10% you want to save, because the average person don't even have $1,000 in savings, and then 10% you want to have for investment. Think about how many times an investment opportunity comes. You don't have the money. You're like, oh man, right?
I don't want to cut you off, but I think, with the recession going on and, the way that the financial economic state of the world is going to be, I think that's a huge, huge, huge piece that everybody needs to be conscious of, just because we're going into recession. If you have it, like Steve just said, he's giving you the blueprint. Everything now is cheap as it's going to be. It's going to be even cheaper. So make sure that you are saving that money aside to invest, because now is one of the best times to do it. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Exactly. No, great point. Great point, Dano. The last 10%, 5% for rainy day fund, because think about it. A lot of times we have family members or loved ones that are in need, and we are in need ourselves. So how could we help someone, right? And then the last 5%, guess what? Put it away for entertainment. You want to enjoy the money you spend in too. But this type of formula, self-discipline, is where you want to be, right? So, but again, it starts with the mind and disciplining yourself to actually follow, a model like that or blueprint like that. And then legal, why legal? So, I've had many ideas. I get excited about them and I share them. And trust me, wolves in sheep clothing shows up and try to steal your ideas. I've had it happen twice in my lifetime where my ideas were stolen because I get excited and I share it. But one thing your viewers should remember is this. Every idea that God gives you is your intellectual property and you've got to protect it. Before you even share it with anyone, that book idea, that invention, whatever it may be, copyright it, protect it, trademark it, whatever it may be, and then share it. Because then you're protecting that idea God gave you. And he gave it to you. He didn't give it to no one else but you, and it's for you. So protect it. So that's why the lineup, and that's why those specific topics and products.
And thank you for going into great detail about that too, because everybody, if you're in the Seattle area, if you're near there, if you're within 1 hour to go drive, go do it. Steve is giving you guys the blueprints. I already know this event is going to be super fire. I wish I was going, but I'm not in the area, unfortunately. But I'm just so grateful for you to come on for today. So Steve, we only have a few minutes remaining left into the show. So there's 2 more questions that I want to ask you. So number one, this will be the first question. So you believe in God, and a lot of people are spiritual, and they believe in religion, but let's talk to the people that really aren't at that stage yet. What if they're just they don't really believe, or maybe they're still curious about everything? You say that everybody has a divine plan inside of, rooted in their their whole existence being here. Can you talk to the people a little bit that may not believe, that they don't see their own divine plan?
Mm-hmm. Dano, I can just speak to my experience, right? Growing up in the islands, I grew up, my dad was Hindu, mom was Catholic. So I was exposed to the 2 religions, right? And going through the rituals and the traditions of those religions. When I moved to Florida, that's when I had that awakening, and for each one, they have it differently. For me, it was, when I was in a Catholic church every Sunday, and I can go to the priest, he'll forgive me. I go back, I couldn't wait to go out and go do my bad, right? Next Sunday is coming around, right around the corner. Well, when I was living in Florida, a colleague invited me to just go to Bible study with them. And I kept saying, no, 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 no. And finally, just out of courtesy, I said, all right, man, I'll go with you. Friday night, I was partying. Saturday, I'm going over there with a hangover, right? I was young. I was, I think 19 at the time. And so, so I did, and I go. And so he asked me a question. He just said, Steve, have you ever personally accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior? I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I've never heard that, right? And I read off my accomplishment in a Catholic church and what I did, go to Indian prayers. He said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Have you just, with your own mouth, just ask Jesus, ask God to just forgive you? I said, well, I've never done that. No. So I said it, he said, hey, just ask him personally. And I did. Daniel, what happened to me was just, transformational. I literally fell to the ground, and I literally watched a dark charcoal grayish shadow of a person who stood up, lift off me, and walked away. And I watched it walked away from me. And when I stood up, man, that room was just lit up. Colors were colors. Green was green, blue was blue. It was just so vivid. There was a light in that room, and the closest I saw to that light was here in Washington. It had snowed. Everything was covered. That purity magnified about 100 times is what I saw in that room that day. And that's when I knew that something great just happened to me, and that awakening became a reality. And that's when my journey began, and that's when I knew I was in that divine plan. Now I just had to keep on track. Now, did I veer to the left and veer to the right through the journey? Yes, I have.
Of course, and I think we all do, but I think it's like I said in the beginning, well, we need that contrast, because how do you know that you're really off track if you don't go? And I think, as humans, we are curious too. We might think, okay, what happens if I go check what's around this corner? And, you're like, oh, well, I'm never going to do that again. But you have that life experience, and now you know what is right and what track you do need to be on because of the experiences that you had that weren't really that great, or maybe that were off track. And, I want to just talk to the positivity posse real quick, just because, Steve had these experiences, and, his, like I just said, experiences, it can happen to you as well. So don't just rule it out and just say, oh man, this can only happen to Steve, or this can only happen to everybody else. Me, I'm different. I'm a special case. No, you're not. You are special, but all of these things can happen to you as well, whether it's that alignment that you're looking for, but you just have to make that intention to go seek. So Steve, we have 5 minutes left.
Okay, awesome. But what I want to just speak to what you just said there, and it's people really understanding the I am within them, okay? Because there's so much power in I am. I am, is another name for God. And at one point in history, I am was forbidden to the Jewish race from using it because they knew the power of it. So everything you put after I am, you become. You asked me how I'm doing. I have one answer and have for years, right? I am blessed and highly favored, living in dominion. I'm living in dominion. So I'm speaking this that, I am blessed. I am highly favored. I am living in dominion. So I'm continually reminding, right, the universe. I'm continually reminding people. I'm continually reminding God that, hey, I am blessed. So, one of the things that you just said, to your viewers is that, I may be different. My experience is different. Your experience may be different, but everybody's experience, God wants us to experience the same experience. Individually, of course, each one of us have our own individual call-in, our own individual experience we should be experiencing that's already been handed out to us, right? We're just walking through the process of time, trying to find that alignment, trying to find what is it do you have for me, God? What is my purpose in life? How could I be a servant? How could I make a difference? What is my part? And you said it earlier, is if we seek, we will find. But it's the seeking part, and then the answers will come to us. We don't have to fight for it. We don't have to contend for it. It will come to us.
Yeah, and we got to cut through all the distractions too, with all of the social media and programming and news outlets and friends or all. You got to try to cut through that noise too, because not everybody is around for your best interest as well. So, Steve, you're dropping those golden nuggets 100%. Thank you so much. Steve, we only got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to ask the final question. We always wrap up the episodes the same way every single time. So, Steve, if somebody is in their darkest moments right now and they're watching this channel, they're watching this episode for today, what advice would you give them in order to get them out of this dark hole that they may be in?
Yeah, and we all get in those dark moments, and for each one of us, we seek different devices, if you will, right, to get out of there. But all of it doesn't work. Sometimes it just keeps us trapped in that darkness. For me, like I said, it's really surrendering to God. It's really opening up to God. It's really asking Him to take you out of that darkness, right? It's back to, if you seek, you'll find. It's back to calling out and crying out to God for help. Now, for me, it was crying out to Jesus. Everyone has a different way or method in what they do. I just shared, for me personally, that transformational, that took me out of that darkness, or pull the darkness out of me, right? That's really what happened. That darkness was within. It literally was pulled out of me, which exposed me to the light, because now the light become a reality. The light was already there. I just couldn't see it because my eyes were blinded, right? So it's really just crying out and reaching out to God for Him to help pull you out and pull that darkness out of you to see the light.
100%. So, Steve, I know everybody had a great time today. I know I had an amazing time. Steve, thank you for coming on today and sharing your wisdom and sharing just the opportunities and the lessons that you have for everybody, and always willing to give back and to bring this light into the world to just make it brighter, brighter, and brighter, so that it's so bright that we can't ignore it. So, Steve, just tell everybody one more time about your event this weekend, where they can go, and just any information.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, guys, listen, it's going to be phenomenal. MyDHLife.events. It's free. Register. If you know anyone in the greater Seattle area, send them. They're going to be blessed tremendously. I can't wait. So thank you. And if you want anything personally from me or get in contact with me, Dano just showed my website there. It's Steve. There you go. You just send me a message right there.
There you go. So, Steve, thank you for coming on. For my positivity posse, you guys absolutely rocked it today, like you do week in and week out. Just throwing in this positive energy, leaving your comments, your questions, and just anything that you have to share. I just love you guys absolutely so much. And come back next week. For next week, we will have Valerie coming on to the show. Valerie, man, you want to talk about just so much chock full of knowledge, whether it's history, whether it's, the stuff that we talk about, the spirituality, whether it's positivity, all of that great stuff, and always being of service, because she loves to do that as well. So come back next week to enjoy all of this amazing content. And y'all only know there's only one place on the internet that you can find it, and it's right here on Weekly Dose of Dano, every Thursday at 6 o'clock. Steve, thank you so much. I wish you much. Sending you the best energy for your event this weekend. Many blessings to you as well. And I'm going to save this live, since, you already know. You got my number now. I'm only a phone call if you ever needed anything from me. And I hope you guys have an absolutely killer weekend. Go crush it. Always believe in yourself. And I just hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano. Peace.